if you're teetering between, on the one hand, believing that you have what it takes to get 10 pounds of body composition change in just 1 year or less, and on the other hand, believing that you just may not have the genetics to do something like that, then in my opinion, you are in the exact right place. I know how good you are. I understand that when people look at you, they see someone with a really good body. You've probably even been told that your body is near perfect. And if you're anything like me, I know exactly which word in that sentence that you obsessed over. You're like a beautiful, strong, perfectly designed bowling ball. You just lack the bumper guards in the gutters that are going to help ensure your ultimate success. Or you just need a few more bowling lessons. You are here because, like me, motivation and fire is not what you lack. You lack a wee bit of self-belief, and you lack the roadmap, the guide. And once you begin to see results, you know you would actually trust the roadmap even more. You would dedicate yourself to the process even more fully. And that's how the remaining gaps in your self-belief will get filled in. You know this. I'm only telling you what you already know about yourself. I'm actually in this exact position right now with my books. I just finished editing the second of two novels that I began writing all the way back in 2014. I was able to self-motivate to write and rewrite. I went through 8 drafts on each book. There was no option for me to not write them. Now I'm done with the art for now, and I'm focusing on the business side of things. But I I need more than motivation to succeed at this part. I need other people. I have never done this kind of thing before, and I don't really know what I'm doing. I am scared. I am doubting myself. I'm literally taking it day by day. I'm following a consultant's advice because she's the clearest resource I've come across. She offers a roadmap, but I have a hard time trusting it's all going to work out. But the much stronger voice in my head is like, Brandon, you know your content is already incredible enough that you can be the next Armistead Maupin, the next Mary Higgins Clark. My books may or may not succeed the way I want them to commercially, but I know I'm worth the risk. I know I'm not delusional for believing I am incredible, because I just need to take my clothes off and look in the mirror, and I'm reminded that I've already executed greatness. You know, this was not something that I inherited. I didn't win it in a lottery or achieve it, but then lose it. This, my body, is something I've earned and sustained. And it's now my template for success in life. So when it comes to the business side of my books, I have the motivation. I most of the time have the self-belief, not always. And I'm just following the roadmap that's been laid out for me by the clearest, most honest resource I've found online. The point of that story was to make vividly clear to you that I am in the exact place at this moment in my book journey that you are in with your bodybuilding journey. You have the motivation, you have some self-belief, but you need the roadmap, because that's the thing that's been eluding you, despite, of course, an overwhelming volume of free info out there. Unless you are differently abled, I don't have anything you don't have. I have the same insecurities and goals you do, just like you. I was obsessed with getting bigger and working against an overactive metabolism. That was back in my 20s. Then I got older, and my 30s have been about managing hunger in the opposite direction. There have been so many times in my journey when I've thought, oh my God, I should have more to show for how much effort I've been putting in. One of the biggest things that's held me back between 2016 and 2018, back when I was in my early 30s, were my hangups around overeating. I was operating, I was operating under this false binary choice. And that has been the largest miracle over the last couple of years. This realization that most of the time today, I can have a pretty darn healthy relationship with junk food, enjoying it every day if I wish, in moderation, while still getting a nearly 20-pound body composition change since 2018. By the way, if the term body composition change sounds a little unfamiliar, it's simply a reference to the amount of muscle you've gained in pounds plus the amount of body fat you've lost in pounds. So obviously, we're looking for a positive body composition change here, right? So in my case, since 2018, I've gained roughly 10 pounds of muscle and I've lost roughly 8 pounds of fat. So that's about an 18-pound body composition change. But interestingly enough, the scale has only changed about 2 pounds as of, if I compare where I am today versus where I was in 2018, I'm about 1 or 2 pounds heavier. So that's why using the scale to track your progress is an insufficient way to track your progress. And we'll talk more about that in a future webinar. But I just wanted to explain the term body composition change in case it didn't already make sense to you. Okay, so you know that getting a handle on your own food issues is crucial. Navigating you through those issues is one of the biggest things in Dream Body School. And listen, I understand that your issues today may be different than mine are today, but I've worked with a couple hundred clients by now, the vast majority of whom are gay men. And the truth is, all the issues stem from the same problem: self-doubt and perfectionism. I am able to show you how to push through perfectionism. Perfectionism is just another term for fear of failure. I can't remove your fear. It may always be there, but it's only when you consistently act through fear that you'll get what fear has kept you from. Now, I'm not a therapist. I am a consultant and educator. I have no magic cure for what ails you or for what ails me. If I did, trust me, I would have used it on myself a long time ago. What I do have are experiences and resources to help you develop habits that will get you an incredible body and life in spite of your problems. So you already know the food part's going to be one of the hardest parts for getting a sick body. And you may still be thinking that I can't help you because your food issues are just too far gone, or your genetics, or something else in your lifestyle is just too extreme beyond help. That's what you think. Now, I'm not saying this to be shady or to be rude. I'm just saying this because I've been in the exact same position. Me too. But the good news is you are actually a lot less unusual than you think. Let's compare the overall process of developing food habits to getting a new phone. When you get a new phone, you're upgrading, right? You know that your new device is going to have new benefits and features, but it takes getting used to. The buttons and the commands are all in different places on your new phone, but you suck it up and you do it because you've committed to it. And more importantly, you know that it's going to be worth it because you've seen and you've heard about all these awesome new features. Well, successfully relearning how to fill in the gaps with your education around nutrition for bodybuilding is no different. There is a big learning curve at the beginning, often, but just like how you get into the groove with your new phone and all of its new features after a while, and you practically forget what the old phone was like, you can actually sort of set yourself on autopilot with your bodybuilding nutrition habits. My Dream Body School, which will open shortly, is the opportunity for me to help you relearn that foundation for truly amazing bodybuilding. And it will help you deal with that learning curve with as little pain as possible. And Dream Body School this year will be evergreen, meaning it's not a temporary subscription that has an end date, so you can come back to it and to me as frequently as you want, over and over and over. Dream Body School is going to teach you how to not just weather the storms coming your way in your future, it's going to teach you how to thrive through them. Okay, so we know that you are responsible for your own motivation, and I know you have it. We know you're going to meet me about halfway on the self-belief, and then the roadmap I give you will help you fill in the rest of your self-belief. Now, I want to compare changing your diet sustainably to the metaphor of moving residences. Generally speaking, I would say the longer that you've been in a place, the more resistance you're going to have built up to moving because you've accumulated all this stuff over time. You're familiar with your home and how your super maintains it and your commute and your neighbors, even if each of those things leaves something to be desired. You tell yourself, and this part is absolutely true, hey, I've got it better than most people. So shouldn't I just, and this part is not necessarily true. So shouldn't I just settle for what's safe? And listen, I am not here to make that decision for you, but you came here, you're watching this because you genuinely want to move. You want to move your body and your nutrition habits. And in this metaphor that we're talking about right now, your home. So let's say Astoria, Queens is where you've been stuck for the last decade, but you dream of a luxury apartment in Chelsea, or maybe you're somewhere in LA and you dream of getting into West Hollywood, or maybe you're in the Bay Area, but you dream of the Castro. Okay, so let's say you find the strength to decide to move out of your good, not great apartment. Next, you go out, you look around, and you identify your new place, your desire, your dream apartment. Then you go ahead and you make the arrangements for your movers. You make the commitment to move across the Golden Gate Bridge and actually into the Castro. And then you start packing. Now, if you leave it all to the week of, you are incredibly stressed. But if you start a little further out than that and you just do a little bit each day, 5 days a week, it's not nearly as bad. And on moving day, once you and a friend and the movers get you across that Golden Gate Bridge or that Queensboro Bridge or the overseas highway that leads you from Tampa all the way down to Key West, you cross that bridge and you're in your new town and you find your new block. You finally find parking. You help the movers haul all your stuff up those stairs and put it down in your new place. And the first night you sleep in your new place, you think to yourself, whew, some things did not go well today. I didn't get to say goodbye to my neighbor. I got really hungry halfway through the move and I didn't have time to get the food. And my rental car almost got towed because I parked in a no parking zone by accident. Thank God for my friend who waited down in the car just in case and then moved it for me just in the nick of time. So the bottom line is you pulled it all off despite the chaos because you had help. And you think, did this really just happen? And the answer is it did. Your dream home, your dream life, it was only a couple small miles away the whole time. Side note, maybe you're further than that away from your dream. Maybe, like me, you're in Astoria right now, but you're looking to get all the way over to West Hollywood. But who do you think is more likely to make that trip successfully? On the one hand, you got someone who's born and raised in another part of LA, but they never become willing to believe in their potential and ask for help. Or on the other hand, you've got someone in a suburb or maybe even a small town in the South or the Midwest or on the East Coast. And that second person is willing to do whatever it takes within reason to realize their dreams. On the one hand, you got someone who's just maybe 2.5 miles away and won't make it. And the other person maybe 2,500 miles away, and they will make it because they have the fire to move and they're willing to ask for help and believe in themselves. Okay, so you've moved into your dream home. Then in the following weeks, you're unpacking, you're dealing with all the real life BS of switching your utilities, and you've got a noisy new neighbor. You start out going to an expensive, inconvenient, cramped grocery store because you think it's the best option. The point I'm making here is that, your dream life, your dream home will still require sacrifices to maintain, but the sacrifices should be much smaller than the rewards you get. And that has certainly been my experience and the experience of some of my clients. Okay, so back to the dream home analogy. 2 months after you've moved in, you realize, hey, there's a convenience store just 2 blocks away from my new place. And oh my gosh, it's less crowded, it's cheaper, and it's more spacious. You realize you can easily get 90% of your supplies there. And that means that you can just go 2 or 3 times a month to the real grocery store to stock up on frozen produce. And then between those 2 or 3 trips a month, plus your, a couple times a week trip to the convenience store, you have got everything you need, but now you are saving money and stress and time. And you, of course, had to join a new gym in your new neighborhood. So you thought you'd try the cheapest, closest one. So it's basically the flip of the last situation with the food. And listen, at this gym, this cheap, close gym, you're happy enough. And it's not until, let's say, 8 months later that you realize there is another gym and it takes longer to get to and it's more expensive because it's worth it. And you wish you'd been going there all along because, get this, the guys there are hotter, the staff is friendlier, and the equipment is better. And now it's been a year since you put your plan in motion to begin moving. Now you've got all your furniture and all your decorations set up in your dream home and your dream life, and everything is just, humming along. And you think back to that time a year earlier when you just had this dream. Then one day, and this is still in your new dream home, in your second year, you have an old friend over to see your imperfectly perfect dream life in your dream home. You tell your friend that the unit next door to you was just vacated, and you know that your friend would really like to move deep down. And your friend says back to you, wow, you made your dream your reality. How inspiring. I wish I could do that. But, you have the genetic predisposition to move. You have the physiological ability to move. I don't. If that was my friend saying that to me, I would say back to them, listen, the only thing about your physiology that's holding you back is what's right up here. And I am pointing to my head right now. And your friend may be too scared. But if that door is open just even a crack, and if your friend has enough audacity to say, yes, I want you to show me, then you would tell them what made you decide that you had to move. And you would show them how to start packing weeks in advance, right? A little bit each day. And you'd help them skip the broker fee. Then you would tell them about the movers you used. And you would make it really clear to your friend that your friend has to be packed and completely ready to go before the movers show up, because you know from experience how quickly those movers work once they get to your place. And you tell your friend how they need to be moving in the middle of the day on a weekday, preferably, so that you can, keep traffic problems to a minimum. And you tell your friend that they need to prepare snacks for moving day and that they need to say goodbye to their neighbors in advance. And you tell your friend that they need to have someone wait in the car outside their new place so that the car doesn't get towed. And you actually offer to be that friend because you know what it's like to be in their shoes. And when your friend tells you that they can't afford this move, you sit down with them and you help them look over their finances. You tell them where you cut costs in your own life, and you make specific suggestions without telling them that they must do anything, because ultimately this is your friend's journey now. And so right now, even without having moved places yet, your friend, you've already just helped them save hundreds of dollars a month by showing them the tips that you used to adjust your own spending habits. So even if your friend never makes it to the holy grail of, moving in next door to you, their life is already significantly improved just because they applied part of your journey to their own. So you then ask your friend, okay, do you want to keep moving forward? What's more painful right now? Is it more painful to stay where you are, or is it more painful to move? And if your friend decides for themselves that they will actually be happier giving up something familiar for something rewarding, then they go ahead and they move. And your dream life now has your old friend living next door to you. And you explain to your friend their options for the grocery stores and the gyms in the neighborhood so that your friend can make the most educated decisions for themselves. And in this manner, you continue to save them a ton of money and or stress, and or you'll give them a lot of joy and ease they may not have otherwise had. In Dream Body School, I'm you in that analogy. I am the person who's gone through it, and I'm giving you, the friend who wants to move in the metaphor, the move map. That's what I'm giving you. You're here because you are willing to do the packing and even the moving on your own. You already know those things fall on your shoulders. That's the motivation we started out talking about 20 minutes ago. But you have a guide. You are not alone. And this guide was once in your exact position. And he just applied himself and made a lot of mistakes along the way and has come up with a streamlined plan for how to help you avoid wasting your most precious resource, time. The move map for developing food habits that meet you where you are and then moves you forward incrementally and at a sustainable pace. That roadmap comes standard in Dream Body School. So too does having me as your personal workout concierge. You can send me questions about your workouts and videos, and in those videos, you can show me you performing your exercises, and I will offer you detailed feedback. And you'll get something else. You'll get the 1-year Dream Bodybuilding workout calendar. Those 3 exclusive features, my education, my workouts, and my workout concierge service, are all evergreen. And this means that you are not renting my products and services, but you're buying them long term for as long as Dream Body School is in existence. You're going to have ongoing, on-demand, direct access to the education, to the workout program, and to my individualized advice on your workout program. Today in this webinar, we're not going to cover the education or the workouts or the workout concierge service or what nutrition prescription is, which is an optional add-on for Dream Body. Today was just about opening the door much wider for your self-belief. And it's been about giving you some realistic faith that I have what you've been missing. There's going to be another webinar coming up where I'll tell you more about Dream Body and give you the ability to claim some awesome bonuses. So keep your eyes on your inbox for details. I want to share a little story with you. I was watching the Madonna documentary Truth or Dare, and it's set in the early 90s. And at the end, she's telling her backup dancers, listen, I'm not the best dancer or the best singer. And when I heard that as Brandon, I was like, well, why then is Madonna so legendary? When you look at my website, it conveys everything you need to know about Dream Body School, and I'm proud of it. But it's also not the most sophisticated website. I definitely want to keep growing in that department. The good news for you is that you're not coming to me to teach you how to build the most sophisticated website. You're coming to me to get you through the block and over the bridge with your body. One of the answers to Madonna's legendary status, excuse me, is that she basically laid the blueprint for how to be a modern female pop icon. And then other women have come along after her, and they've used parts of Madonna's template, but then they each imbued that template with their own X factor. And that's why there's only one Britney, only one Gaga, only one Rihanna, etc. Joining me for Dream Body School is like the third row seat to Madonna in concert, plus backstage VIP passes to actually sit down with her and ask her about every single thing she did. Then it's going to be up to you to apply your own artistry and subsequently become the biggest pop star of the mid-21st century, someone who we have not even heard of yet. That is you. That is your capability. You're in the wings right now. You have the ability to be the biggest pop star of the mid-21st century, even if it's just in your own life. That is what I can do for you. I can give you the template for success, and then you can imbue it with your own X factor. That body transformation consists of a muscular, sinewy back with a really enviable V shape to it, a bubble butt that is quote unquote effable, if you catch my drift, immaculately shaped bulging pecs, distractingly perfect veiny biceps and horseshoe triceps, broader, more powerful and well-carved shoulders, and veins and muscle striations in your visible abdomen and long, godlike thighs. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to take my shirt off. I know this is scary to think about. I know this is very uncomfortable for you. It's often the fear of not realizing our own greatness that holds us back from taking the risk of believing in and pursuing our potential in life. A lot of people confuse greatness with perfectionism. Actually, it's perfectionism that's been preventing our greatness. Two final thoughts for today. Especially for us, because of all the shame that's been drilled into us, we believe that we've got to be perfect to get love. We have to be secure. We have to be sure that we can look good and do it right. One of the bravest, hardest, most life building things about bodybuilding for me is that it forces me to admit that I'm not yet ultimately at my goals. Now, that is incredibly humbling. It takes a great amount of strength to own the fact that I am in process. That is very hard for a perfectionist to do. It is much easier to tell myself that the reason my photos look a little bloated and unshapely is because, listen, the angle wasn't right, or the lighting wasn't right, or the camera added weight. Also, it's easier to look at the things that are already going really well for my body. And this part is true, but this next part is not necessarily true. It's easy to just fall into the trap of, well, since I have some really good features, then I'm just making this all up in my head. I'm just making up this story that I'm capable of doing better. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. It takes so much strength to be like, no, actually, I want better. I am capable of better. And I'm going to stop acting like I know how to get there on my own, because if I did, I'd already be there. Last thought for today. This kind of applies to whether or not to hire me, but it applies even more to life. I need you to hear this one. You make good decisions. When in doubt, trust your gut. You know what you need. You know what you need and you know what you don't. Trust your gut. You make good decisions. I really hope that you got something out of this webinar. If you feel like Dream Body School may be for you, then I invite you to get on my email list. And there will be another webinar coming up where I go into further detail, as I mentioned. I hope to see you again soon.